A mistake repeated during routine screenings leaves some Vanderbilt patients worried and waiting.
They need to know. It's pitiful, it's sad.
The potential risks to their health.
Gunfire erupts along a busy North Nashville street, leaving 9 people hurt and 1 person dead. The changes community members say we need right now.
And a mid-state professor about to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His contributions to the world of music. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
It's emotional roller coaster, 24/7.
Continuing coverage tonight on a mistake made during routine screenings that has put some Vanderbilt Clinic patients at risk. Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Couch.
I'm Megan O'Halloran. After we first told you about the issue on Friday, more endoscopy patients contacted Fox 17 News, worried the error may have exposed them to HIV or hepatitis. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live near Vanderbilt Medical Center with their concerns tonight.
Scott, Megan, the Vanderbilt patients tell me knowing they could have been exposed to HIV or hepatitis from a medical procedure is terrifying. They tell me they want more accountability from Vanderbilt.
Johnny Mozingo recalls getting the shocking news he could have been exposed to HIV or hepatitis.
It was absolutely terrifying and trembling.
Mozingo tells me the call came 3 months after getting a colonoscopy at a Vanderbilt clinic.
She started reading saying you may have been exposed to hepatitis A, B, and C, and HIV. And it was the solution they used.
Nearly in tears, he's hoping his wife of 42 years and his family don't get it.
They need to know. It's pitiful, it's sad.
Mozingo tells me the phone call offered no guidelines on what to do next. His story is similar to another patient, wished to be named as Miss Matthews. She tells me she got an endoscopic ultrasound in July and got the same phone call after.
I have a liver condition, so I knew that if I were to be tested positive for this, then it could be probably life-altering for me.
We asked Vanderbilt Medical Center if staffers since corrected the problem. They sent us this statement, quote, "We recently discovered an issue in how a solution was administered through the scope during a limited number of endoscopy procedures at the Vanderbilt Clinic. We immediately corrected the issue and reported it to the Tennessee Department of Health. We are in the process of notifying patients who had an endoscopy procedure and may have been affected," end quote. Vanderbilt says it affected less than 4% of endoscopy patients and the risk is low. They won't say how many patients, declining to answer our follow-up questions. Mozingo and Miss Matthews say that risk is costing them sleepless nights because they have to continue testing.
Both Mozingo and Miss Matthews tell me they plan to file a lawsuit against Vanderbilt. Reporting live in Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News previous reporting on the issue is posted on our Fox Nashville YouTube page. We spoke with another patient last week who is also worried about exposure. You can watch Karen's interview with them and her entire story at Fox Nashville on YouTube.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a Murfreesboro woman is charged with killing her live-in boyfriend during an argument. It happened yesterday at the couple's apartment. Police say 22-year-old Shakira Brown shot 27-year-old Jaleel Turner. She's being held right now at the Rutherford County Jail with a bond set at $750,000.
Continuing coverage of Hurricane Helene recovery efforts in East Tennessee. Right now, safety teams are preparing to inspect the Nolichucky Dam in Greene County. Workers will open the dam's small spillway gate tomorrow to lower the reservoir. That's so the teams can check the dam when there's no water flowing over the main spillway. Their inspection is scheduled for this Wednesday.
Continuing coverage now on the flood recovery efforts underway over in East Tennessee. Take a look at these pictures as members of the Newport Rescue Squad remove a Walmart tractor trailer from the river in Eastport. What a mess. You can see the truck heavily damaged. Emergency crews say the driver of the vehicle was able to get out before the flood took the rig down the river. Now, you've seen a lot of dramatic videos and pictures coming from East Tennessee in the wake of Hurricane Helene, including videos, and you can see all of our Helene videos and more at the Fox Nashville YouTube channel, as well as our website, fox17.com.
New tonight, a new report listing Tennessee in the top 10 for worst states when it comes to quality of life. The volunteer state is actually in at number 6. The report cites poor health care, high crime rates, and limited inclusiveness. According to FBI stats, while the murder rate dropped 9% in 2022, Tennessee is still one of the most violent in the U.S. The state did score well in air quality and child care. Well, we want to know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with this new report on a poor quality of life here in Tennessee? 1,303 people voting tonight, and 75.1% of respondents disagree with that study. However, 24.9% agree. This poll live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code on your screen or go to our X page. Our handle's at Fox Nashville, and we'll show you updated poll results here tonight on Fox 17 News at 10.
And tonight, another safe space for new parents with no options left. Safe Haven just installed the 11th baby box in our state. This one is located in Murfreesboro, the fire station on Medical Center Parkway. The idea is to give new parents a safe location to leave a baby in a time of crisis. The box will signal first responders that a child has been left behind.
Well, Metro Schools getting a major grant to help with specialized training at 4 of its schools. The Department of Education is giving Metro nearly $15 million to spend over the next 5 years. Some of that money will go to Spanish immersion programs at Glenview and Paragon Mills Elementary schools. Students at Stratton Elementary will get training that focuses on global thinking, and teachers, Brick Church Middle, will use money to provide college prep courses.
All right, let's talk about your weather. You woke up today, the hint of fall was in the air. We just need one freeze to push us over the edge.
Yes. Goodbye, bugs. That's what I want to say.
That's what I'm thinking about.
We're on the edge.
We're right there. And I think some could see a freeze later this week. A majority of us, I think, are going to get by with a frost. And we'll talk about the difference. But overall, it's going to be cold either way, wherever we are in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Pretty picture here from our South Nashville camera. And again, as we head through the evening tonight, I expect a little bit of cloud cover to move in, which will keep temperatures in the mid to lower 40s for the overnight. We're already sitting at 55 here in town with temperatures in the low 50s up in Hopkinsville, upper 40s already for those in Cookeville and in Crossville. So next couple of mornings are going to be feeling quite chilly, especially compared to what we've known for the past couple of months. Definitely looking at our coolest air that we've had since springtime. Low temperatures tonight here in town will be in the mid 40s, low 40s up near the Tennessee and Kentucky border. Upper 30s possible for those in Crossville. Cookeville may see some patchy frost here for tomorrow morning. It'll become a little bit more widespread as we get into the middle of the week. So for kids at the bus stop tomorrow, it is going to be breezy, a little breezy, and it's going to be chilly. So they will need the jacket for sure. As we look at a partly to mostly cloudy sky for tomorrow as well, we'll see those temperatures right around 50 by 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll talk more about how long this chilly weather lasts, where we could see a freeze later this week. It's all in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Scott.
Katie, thank you. Looking ahead to next week when the city of Clarksville will begin its annual free fall cleanup. The city will pick up normal yard waste like grass clippings, leaves, and tree limbs, but the street department will not pick up tree stumps or limbs that have been cut by a commercial tree service. Again, the pickup is free. You will have to call the Clarksville Street Department to get on their schedule.
He's only 18 years old, but he is a race car driver from Middle Tennessee that is doing something that, well, something that NASCAR legends have done. Meet Dawson Sutton next.
And down to the wire, the push to win over undecided voters.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
Well, a young mid-state race car driver is making a name for himself nationally.
This is cool. Dawson Sutton of Rackley Racing, I should say, is about to become the second youngest champion in the history of the Nashville Fairgrounds racetrack.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier has more on the rapid rise of a local guy on the move.
Lebanon's Dawson Sutton has been racing just 3 years, but he's already doing things that only NASCAR legends have done. Going into the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Late Pro Model 100, Dawson Sutton is on the verge of being track champion. He's in elite company. Darrell Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Bobby Hamilton. These are big names, not just in Nashville racing, but in national racing.
It just fits my driving style, these cars, super late models. They're just super fun, and I love short track racing. And generally when we get to, travel around the country and race all different kinds of racetracks, smaller tracks. And fortunately, this is my favorite racetrack here in Nashville, only 30 minutes from home.
Here he comes. The Breast Cancer Awareness 100 would end dramatically. Locked into second place for 30 laps.
Sutton inside.
Sutton tries to find a way to win.
Rackley War looks downstairs. Hunter Wright 29. Dawson Sutton 26. Sutton is going to move him in turn 4 to take the win.
A page right out of Dale Earnhardt's book. A bump and run so clean he didn't even wreck the other car. A classic racing move that always gets controversy and comments. Quote, textbook bump and run. Put that in a cup car in Bristol and the whole crowd is cheering. The bump and run is back. Both finish with no wrecks, so, unquote. Willie Allen, former Fairgrounds champion and current co-owner of the Rackley War car, says 18-year-old Sutton races way beyond his years.
So just his work ethic and his just natural ability is crazy. He hadn't raced 2 or 3 years and doing stuff that, it's taken guys 10, 15, 20 years to do, or some that's never done here. So it's just amazing to see him do that and the stuff he does.
What's his ceiling?
I don't think there is one.
Sutton has now won 9 late pro model races this year, including a stunning victory in the Father's Day 100 at the Milwaukee Mile, one of the toughest road trip wins in racing. But don't look for big talk from this humble young man. He's a yes sir, no sir kid who likes to do his talking behind the wheel.
Yeah, my dream is to race in the Cup Series. It's always been, it's the highest level of racing, and the best of the best. I love, strong competition, and I get to race against strong competition every weekend, and then the super late models, and I feel like, you can only go up from there.
Going up? Absolutely. So fast, you better not blink.
Blue money, baby, back in victory lane.
Sutton has one more race in Nashville, the All-American 400, the first weekend in November. That is going to be a fun race to watch. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
All right, Katie, I feel like October is finally getting on board with the seasons, right?
Yeah, it feels like October, finally.
Yeah, it is going to be nice for a lot of the week. And then if you're not really ready for the cold weather, you get some nice weather this weekend. A little bit for everybody. I think it's going to be nice.
It's very Tennessee of you, keeping everybody happy.
I try. I try my best.
So polite.
Yes. We are looking at a couple of chilly mornings ahead here, so it is starting to feel more like fall, but we'll warm up by the end of the week. But it does look like our first chance at frost for the middle of the week here. And all the while, we're still wondering, where is the rain? The dry pattern looks to continue for the week. Now, tomorrow, I do think we are looking at more cloud cover. Along with that, a little bit of a breeze that'll be around as well. It'll put an extra chill in the air. We're starting to get to that time where a little bit of a wind will make it feel chilly out there. So 54 temperature at 10 o'clock. We're up to about 60 by 2 and looking at upper 50s as we head into the evening hours. For Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then again Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we are looking at the potential for frost and possibly a freeze. So area wide, I think frost will be likely. Where it's possible that we could see a freeze, it'll be out to the east here in purple, and mainly for the Cumberland Plateau and then upper Cumberland region. So the difference between a frost and a freeze, remember we can get frost to develop above 32, about 36 or below. It's usually more localized. A freeze is when frost becomes much more widespread across the area, with temperatures at or below 32. And then a hard freeze, which would be the end of the season, end of the growing season, temperatures below 28. And that really is a killing freeze for us. So I think that it is possible on the plateau that we could see a freeze over the next few mornings. This takes us into Wednesday morning here. This is by about 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Notice that those temperatures here are hovering in the upper 30s to around 40 here in Nashville. We will be right around that freezing mark out towards Cookeville and Crossville, potentially here up in southern Kentucky as well, Hopkinsville, maybe even Bowling Green. Then we get into Thursday morning and temperatures will once again be looking quite chilly, upper 30s to around 40 in town and a little colder outside of those city centers, although temperatures may be just above the freezing mark for early Thursday morning out on the plateau, which would still, I mean, look, we're looking at a decent chance of frost both mornings here. So case in point, bring in the mums or any other holiday flowers that you have out, fall decor that may be susceptible to frost, because it does look likely for us here. As we take you through tomorrow, you can see that we do have a bit of cloud cover for tomorrow morning. I think we keep it around for the first half of the day as we go towards 12 noon. And then after that, we'll start to see a little bit more break in the cloud cover. A couple light showers trying to pick up in eastern Kentucky. They may push into portions of the upper Cumberland region. It's not going to amount to much as far as anything measurable. That is something we could use after quite a bit of rain from Helene. We're now in another dry stretch. In fact, here in Nashville, we are 15 days without rain, which is the longest stretch that we've had so far this year. We'll talk more about the dry weather pattern coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
From Clinton to Obama, I'm Atrell Nashar with how the Harris-Walz campaign is turning to their party's biggest names in these final weeks before Election Day.
And as it stands right now, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will not be debating again before the election in November, but that doesn't mean the presidential candidates don't have a message for you. The two big events that Vice President Harris and former President Trump have planned to get your vote. In politics, tomorrow marks 3 weeks until the presidential election. Both candidates pulling out all the stops trying to convince you to pick them.
Tonight, Fox 17 News' Atrell Nashar takes a look at what the Harris-Walz campaign is doing to convince voters that they think they're the best option.
We need you.
From former presidents to celebrities.
Madam Vice President.
The Harris-Walz campaign adding star power to their strategy for securing voting blocks absolutely necessary for a Democratic victory. Some in the party growing nervous about whether they can count on their support. Former President Barack Obama back on the campaign trail, starting in must-win Pennsylvania, a state he won twice, delivering a blunt message to black voters.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I'm speaking to men directly now. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
A fresh New York Times Siena College poll of likely black voters shows about 8 in 10 say they'd vote for Vice President Harris, compared to the 9 in 10 who supported the Biden-Harris ticket in 2020. Harris is turning to another former president, one with Southern roots, to shore up support in Georgia, a state she and Biden won in 2020 by fewer than 12,000 votes.
It is literally possible that the whole election could be decided here.
Despite her husband no longer being the nominee, First Lady Jill Biden remains a valuable campaign asset, with a 5-day, 5-battleground state tour through Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. There's a clear gender gap in this race. Polls show Harris has the advantage with women voters, while Trump leads with men. And to close that gap with men, the Harris-Walz campaign is turning to non-traditional niche groups like girl dads for Harris-Walz, hunters and anglers for Harris-Walz, and white dudes for Harris.
End of the day, you're your own man. It's your call.
We're learning in Harris's effort to win over voters beyond the traditional Democratic base, she'll sit down for an interview with Fox News on Wednesday from Battleground, Pennsylvania. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar reporting.
Staying with politics, some voters were hoping for a second presidential debate before the big election, but that appears very unlikely.
Time's running out, and both candidates will try to convince you to earn your vote for them by way of separate town halls.
That's right. Vice President Harris is going to do a town hall hosted by CNN on the 23rd. That's going to be in Delaware County in Pennsylvania. That's the same day the network had originally proposed a second presidential debate. Harris agreed to take part. Mr. Trump, however, declined.
Well, former President Trump will take part in a town hall hosted by Fox News in Cummings, Georgia. It will be taped October 15th and air the next day. It will focus on issues impacting women, and the audience will be entirely female. Well, both networks have extended invitations to organize town halls for the other candidate. CNN offered to organize a separate town hall for Mr. Trump on October 23rd.
And Fox News, by the way, has not yet set a date for its proposed town hall with Vice President Harris, but we'll keep you posted.
Community and city leaders are reacting to a shooting that happened near TSU. We'll have this story coming up next.
Also, we had FEMA under fire, why the agency may have trouble getting more money from Congress.
Every day a mother loses her child to gun violence somewhere, and we have to stop it.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a deadly gang-related shooting erupts near the Tennessee State University campus over the weekend after a homecoming parade had filled the streets. One person killed in the gunfire, 9 others injured. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live in North Nashville, where the search for the suspects continues.
Yes, Scott. Well, today Metro Police released new information saying that 5 of the people involved in this shooting are connected to local gangs here. Now, a few organizations today hosted a meeting to show why this uptick in violence is really having an impact on our local families and children. 2 separate incidents happened over the weekend, leaving people in the Nashville community devastated. One, a deadly mass shooting on 26th and Jefferson, not far from the campus of TSU. Metro Police say 1 person died and 9 other people got hurt. Another incident happened the same night near Nissan Stadium. Metro Police say 3 people got hurt after an argument escalated into a fight in the parking lot. But this violence is impacting young people in our community. Mandy Brown says she grabbed a little girl to take cover after she got separated from her mother.
And she's like, I don't want to die. And we're just trying to calm her down and gather ourselves, because this is my 3rd year going to homecoming, and I've never experienced that.
It is this type of trauma that's getting Mothers Over Murder, the Tennessee Hispanic Action Network, and others to call for change.
At what point do we say, we just stop saying enough is enough in the air, we draw a line in the sand? What's the number? I want to know, so I know when we're going to actually be safe and be heard.
Melissa Alvarez with Tennessee Hispanic Action Network says the number of shootings in Nashville continue to rise, with 154 people shot in 2023. And this year, she emphasizes 283 people have already been shot, with 64 deaths. Tennessee State Senator Heidi Campbell is calling on state leaders to pass common sense gun regulations.
We talk about safety all the time. Well, let's put our money where our mouths are and actually do something about it.
Because Campbell emphasizes enough is enough. Metro Police say that 2 of the suspects involved in this shooting are still on the loose. Now, TSU says that this shooting did not happen on campus, and it also did not involve any TSU students. Reporting live from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Right now, big tech is in a censorship battle that started during COVID. This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson spoke with podcaster Brian Rose, who chronicles the issue in a new documentary called We Will Not Be Silenced.
After that happened to you, what did you see happening on a broader scale?
Well, it was weird because I was subsequently deplatformed from Dropbox, LinkedIn, PayPal, all simultaneously. And when I started asking questions, I almost felt silly to even imply there might be some type of coordination, because it just didn't seem possible at the time. Later now, we see the Twitter files, we see government was involved, but at the time, I was flabbergasted, but we just decided to keep on fighting. We ended up having to create our own streaming platform, and as our last kind of finger to the man, we broadcast the same conversation with the same person about a month later to about 1 million people strong, just to prove that we could do it in the face of censorship by these trillion-dollar tech platforms.
Your podcast is produced in the United Kingdom?
Yes, it is.
What governments were involved when you say government was involved in the censorship?
Well, Ofcom is a regulator here, and so one of our episodes was then broadcast subsequently on television, and so they started cracking down on any media that would publish these conversations. And then, of course, 3 years later, I was completely deplatformed from YouTube for having these conversations. And I had direct conversations with YouTube executives at the time. All of these are recorded conversations that are in the film that even show that they don't know what's going on, because I think they were being told by governments above them what I could say, what I couldn't say. And it's a real deep dive into the censorship apparatus that still exists to this day.
So what would people learn by watching the documentary?
I think they would learn that, first of all, censorship is real and censorship works. If you can keep me off these monopoly trillion-dollar tech platforms, people forget about you. And it's just like silencing or having people killed back in the day. You might as well just quiet our messages. And so people need to hold these people accountable.
You can watch Full Measure every Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on Fox 17.
Pretty chilly night out there already as we sit in the 50s, low 50s, and we'll eventually drop into those low 40s heading into the evening hours. Live look here on Broadway. Few people out and about braving the cooler weather that we have in store for us. Want to share with you a picture here that was sent in by Glenn Sparks of the comet that is moving overhead for the next few nights. Now, tonight was the best night for viewing just because every night it is going to get more dim and it's going to get higher in the sky, but it will be visible for another few days. In fact, all this week. But as I mentioned, as we get later in the week here, it's going to get higher in the sky and it will get more dim as it gets farther away from the sun. But you can see it over the next few nights with mainly clear skies. Had a little bit of cloud cover earlier this evening, and I think we will have a little bit more cloud cover for the overnight. The best time for viewing, though, is going to be right after sunset. So next time will be tomorrow evening. Sunset today was 6:12, so it'll be around that same time frame. You want to head outside, find a dark spot, of course, if you can. This evening was comfortable, but again, next few nights you may be able to spot it. I will say the night mode on your phone, again, is a great tool. You can also use Venus. It'll be to the left of the comet. Use it as your point to view. It's the brightest planet in the sky. Scott?
Katie, thank you. The Mid-State music professor who's about to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the famous band he is a part of, and the A-list star to be involved in the induction.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, as communities work to rebuild after Hurricanes Helene and Milton, criticism of the federal response continues.
Covering the Capitol, will national lawmakers send more money or not?
Well, that's what FEMA's waiting to find out as it deals with the recovery from Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins has the answer.
The devastating storms have passed. Now communities across the Southeast continue trudging down the long road to recovery.
We're asking you all for your prayers.
It's totally destroyed. Looked like somebody just came and dropped bombs everywhere.
Some remote mountainous areas of Appalachia left waiting on FEMA for nearly 2 weeks, some without food, power, and water.
It is an extraordinary sense of betrayal and being left behind. People are worried that their government doesn't care about them.
Civilians taking matters into their own hands. A group of volunteer helicopter pilots flying aid to hard-to-reach areas.
The first 7 days we were here, I didn't see anyone from FEMA or anything like that.
They've been dubbed the Redneck Air Force.
Civilian pilots, ex-military pilots, it's a mix of everything.
The scale of the loss prompting calls for lawmakers to return to Washington to approve more money for FEMA.
Speaker Mike Johnson standing firm, money is not the current problem.
Congress appropriated $20 billion additional dollars to FEMA so that they would have the necessary resources to address immediate needs. And so we put that into the coffers. I just checked, Margaret, as of this morning, less than 2% of that funding has actually been distributed.
On Sunday, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas appearing to concede FEMA does have enough funding to make it through the election.
So immediate versus rebuilding. So you could wait until after the election. Do you know how much you'll need?
We don't know.
Okay.
We are still, for example, assessing the damage.
The House and Senate will return to Washington in mid-November. This is when Speaker Johnson says they can work on passing additional funding for FEMA to help with the long-term recovery process. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Coming up, we'll talk more about the dry weather pattern that we have around and how long it'll be with us.
And the local music professor being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this weekend, plus the Hollywood star who will help to induct him and other members of the Dave Matthews Band.
Continuing coverage as musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs now faces half a dozen new lawsuits. The suits are from the same attorneys representing more than 120 people, accusing Combs of sexual assault. These recent lawsuits include men, women, and a 16-year-old boy. Combs also faces criminal charges, including sex trafficking.
In entertainment news, a big honor for a member of the Dave Matthews Band who also happens to be a music professor at Vanderbilt University. Jeff Coffin is about to become a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Jeff joins us now. He's going to be inducted along with the other members of the band on Saturday night. Jeff, first of all, congratulations, and tell us how you found out that Dave Matthews Band was going in the hall.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on also. We found out while we were in Europe over the summer. We had a 5-week tour over there, and we got a call, text, email, however you want to look at it, on our phone while we're in Florence, kind of late night, having a little snack at the hotel bar.
That's amazing. I'm often, I'll tell you this, honestly surprised by who is and who is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm really into music. How big a deal is this for you and the other members of the band?
Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty big deal, you know. Everybody's super excited about it, and you know, there's a lot of other people that are certainly deserving to be in there. And I was telling somebody earlier today, you know, to me, these kind of accolades are for everybody. They're not just us. They're reflective of our teachers, of our family, of our friends, of our mentors, of our peers. You know, the people who have been with us all along on this process in this journey. So it's, you know, we never do this alone. So all those people, to me, will be there with us on stage.
Sure, and music is so collaborative. And toward that end, I wanted to ask you, who is going to be inducting you? I ask because I always watch, and it's fun for me to see who is bringing these artists into the hall.
Yeah, that'll be Julia Roberts.
Wow, what's the connection there?
She was in the video Dreamgirls about 20 years ago, and I think she and Dave are real close friends. They've known each other for quite a long time, and so yeah, he asked her and she said yes, and yeah, very excited to have her there with us.
That's so cool. You know, I know, I really kind of found out about Gwen Stefani and No Doubt because Julia Roberts loved them, and it's like, well, I got to check them out. Where were you, or I guess, where are you from, and how did you wind up at Vanderbilt? I know you've been there since the early 90s.
Yeah, well, I've been in Nashville since the early 90s. I got here in 1991. I came here from school. I was at North Texas, University of North Texas, and I came here right out of college. And I've been teaching at Vanderbilt now for 10 years. I do a lot of education work when I'm not on the road. I've been doing it for years. I've done well over 325 clinics around the country and around the world, and it's a big part of what I do, and I love it. And so I was hired into Vanderbilt about 10 years ago, and there every week, 3 days a week.
Well, we're lucky to have you here. How does touring with the band impact your class schedule? I'm sure that's got to be a juggling act.
Yeah, it's spinning plates all the time. But, you know, it's real life, and it's the reality of what we do as touring musicians. And So, my students are very understanding about it, and we make up the lessons. And, they need to be flexible in this world of music, as we all need to be. So I think it's a good experience for them to have that flexibility in their lives also. And so I just came from there now. I'm on my way to a studio session at Ocean Way. So it's one of those very packed days before we head to Cleveland tomorrow.
Well, I can't tell you how proud we are of you, for you, and the fact that you're at Nashville. And we'll be thinking about you guys and watching on Saturday night. Congratulations again, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, as we head into the next couple of days, we've been talking about the cold weather being the big story. But something that is sort of that secondary but ongoing story is the fact that we just don't have any rainfall to talk about. Tomorrow morning will be one of the days that I think we've had more cloud cover around for the past couple of weeks. We're looking at a mostly cloudy start. There will be no rain associated with the clouds, so just looking at a little more cloud cover for the morning. It will be chilly too, with those temperatures sitting in the mid 40s to low 50s as we head through the late morning hours. So definitely going to be at least light jacket weather. But as I mentioned, rain chances are going to be few and far between now and another couple of weeks, possibly. I would say at least 7 to 10 days. This is a look at the next few, and you can see that we've got this north wind influence, which will help bring in that cooler weather for us. That'll take us through Thursday and into Thursday night, early Friday. And again, we remain dry. Your eye might be drawn westward here to some pretty colors on the map. Starting to get into that season where we will see more mountain snow and eventually the potential for winter weather even here in portions of Middle Tennessee. I mentioned the dry pattern. We have not had rain since the 29th of September. So we've gone all of October so far with not a drop of rain. Now, Helene really did help us out with our drought in the short term. And we are looking a little better still. I think this will look a little worse on Thursday. It comes out every Thursday, the drought monitor does here. We have seen a little bit worsening conditions to our south in portions of Giles County and Lincoln County, but I do think that we'll continue to see this escalate a little more just because we continue to see the dry weather around. I saw some folks mowing the lawn this afternoon and dust and dirt just flying everywhere, and I think that's going to be the story for a while. This, in fact, is a look at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Takes us through the 24th. Below average conditions here. That's what all of these brown colors mean, with all of the above average rainfall possible to the west, into the Central Plains and into the Pacific Northwest and West Coast as well. So we will stay dry for the next several days. I would say pretty much at least for a week, if not 10 days. And I was looking ahead towards the end of the month, and rain chances remain few and far between, even into the very end of October. So we will continue to watch for any rain our way. Until then, at least we've got the sunshine to enjoy most days. Tomorrow, I think we are looking at a mostly cloudy sky. It will be chilly too. Low 60s and those 30s there on the map for the early part of the morning.
Not just for humans anymore. The new offerings from Crocs.
And a hard battle, the two killer clowns trying to keep the Joker out of the top spot at the box office. In consumer news, Crocs ready to offer shoes for your dog. The casual clog maker is making matching shoes for dogs and their owners.
I knew we'd get here eventually. The new Crocs come in marbled patterns and glow-in-the-dark colors. Dogs and humans can get their matching Crocs starting next week.
Killer clowns facing off at the box office coming up, but only one can be the winner, and the top film features a Nashville actor.
In entertainment news, a horror sequel kicks off Halloween at the top of the weekend box office.
That's right, spooky season. Terrifier 3, featuring a killer clown, debuts in the #1 spot with an estimated $18 million in ticket sales. Industry experts say it's a huge debut for an independent, low-budget slasher film. It's rated R. This picture, by the way, features Nashville actor Mason McCarthy in one of the movie's most memorable scenes.
Rate cuts were supposed to drop mortgage rates, but the opposite is happening. I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. Coming up, what's causing the increase and when there might be some relief.
What's better than picking a pumpkin on a perfect fall day? I'm Liz Bonus. Maybe eating what's inside it for good health. We are going to share the details and what you need to know just ahead.